Hey, I'm Nick Boy and welcome to Pocket for Friday, the 5th of February. Today on the show, Mirror's Edge Catalyst has a story, remastered games, and Great Scot! What an invention. Alright, here's what's been making headlines. Taylor Swift is getting her own video game. Glue Mobile, the team behind the wildly profitable Kim Kardashian Hollywood, are in early stages of development for a Tay-Tay game. Glue CEO Niccolo Damassi has said that the studio is committed to designing never-before-seen gameplay elements that utilize Taylor's unique creativity. So it will be a game about breaking up with celebrities and then writing mean songs about them. In a move that has surprised no one, Warner Brothers have abandoned their Mac and Linux ports of Batman Arkham Knight. Still reeling from the trauma of the Windows port, Warner has posted on the game's Steam page, "We are very sorry to confirm that Batman Arkham Knight will no longer be coming to Mac and Linux. If you have pre-ordered Batman Arkham Knight for Mac or Linux, please apply for a refund via Steam." The soundtracks for Pokemon Red and Blue are being released on vinyl. What? The pressing includes every 8-bit track composed by Junichi Masuda. Why would you want to play chiptunes off of vinyl? Am I wrong in being confused? Am I so out of touch? No, Nick. It's the New Age hipsters who are wrong. Bethesda has revealed that Doom will be hitting stores across the globe on the 13th of May. The game will launch on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on the same day, and super keen Doom fans will be able to buy a giant piece of illuminated plastic in the collector's edition. Bethesda will also be holding a beta test to make sure things are up and running for launch, because this is a game released in 2016. And speaking of betas, EA are running their own for Mirror's Edge Catalyst. It's a closed beta running on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and you can register your interest right now on the Mirror's Edge website. There is a link in the description below. I'm joined now by Goose, because they also released a Mirror's Edge Catalyst story trailer, and we're going to talk about it right now. Mirror's Edge Catalyst follows Daredevil rooftop runner Faith Connors as she takes on an oppressive conglomerate in a sci-fi future. Goosey, did it tickle you?
No, not at all.
Not even a little tickle?
No.
One of these?
Okay,
One of these ones?
Stop it. Okay, so you're sick. Don't touch me. The music.
Yes.
The music tickled me, and I'd forgotten how amazing the music and the design of the visuals in that game are, in terms of the color and the contrast, and that was the stuff that I loved in the first one. Do not remember the story from the first one. Do not want to know the story from the second one.
Was she a mailman?
She was a courier.
Right.
She was a parkouring courier who I think witnessed something bad happen, and then she was running away from the bad guys. I mean, that's essentially all these games are. They're chases.
Yeah.
They're always going to be about the chase, and so I just don't think there's anything new in that story of who's chasing her, who cares. Another criticism with it was the combat, because you're often using melee combat because you weren't using weapons, because that was the idea. And it looks like they've really upped the fisticuffs in this one with that sort of like cool spinning around kicks and all that stuff, which I hope is a bigger part, because there wasn't enough combat in the first one, in my opinion.
I mean, I guess I agree with the story that, you know, it is this giant evil conglomerate, and the trailer is showing her sort of fighting against that. And that is a real trope of these sort of sci-fi loner stories. But I was relatively impressed with the trailer just in terms of the acting, I guess I could say. Like there were like that guy who was like, "What else is there? What else is there?" If that was the line.
I think that's overacting, but yeah.
No, I think that was that felt like an earned moment in that trailer. I feel like the trailer was cut almost like a film trailer. It was just this story, and I mean, the story's not. It doesn't look like it's going to blow me away, but there was enough there for me to go, I'm looking forward to making that guy angry. Yeah,
you mentioned that like a cool thing about it is that sort of loner sci-fi vibe, which I don't get from this, because you've clearly got this team behind you of
the rest of the post office.
A very, how do I put it, the douchebaggy team, because they're all wearing these like hoods and cool runners and stuff, and you know they're just going to try and be so cool and badass, and I'd prefer it if she was just out there on her own, like some sort of solo runner who is constantly looking over her shoulder, but she's got this little base of operations, and she's got people to report to, and she's sticking it to the man, but she's also sticking it to the people in her team, and I'm just not sold, no.
Right, so Mirror's Edge 2 will be like Mirror's Edge 1 for me. I'll tell you what I think about it, and then you can just fake it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on now to Thing of the Day. YouTube user New Scott has created a contraption that generates automatic experience in Fallout 4. The device scraps items on a loop, and it looks like his cat approves.
That vertical video.
When will we learn? All right, moving on now. It's talk through time where you suggest a topic and we talk through it. Today's topic comes in from a couple of people. We've got Ben Argyle and Aiden Jollybones Jolly. I have an idea for the talk through. What are your thoughts on remastered games, especially ones that are remakes of games that didn't come out all too long ago, like Dishonored and Borderlands? And then Jollybones says, hey Nick Boy, can you discuss the validity of remastered versions of games? Now, to be clear, we're going to be talking about remasters, not remakes. So it's not your Final Fantasy VIIs in the new way in which they're coming out. It's your Final Fantasy VII, how they were sort of ported across so that you could play it on your television.
That's the best example we could start with.
That's the best one. The best, most confusing example we could think of. And there have been a huge amount. From the last almost 12 months alone, we've had Last of Us, Uncharted the Nathan Drake Collection, Halo Master Chief Collection, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Grim Fandango, Borderlands Handsome Jack Collection, Tearaway Unfolded for the PS4, Homeworld, Journey, Rare Replay, Goose. Do you buy these and why do they exist?
I do, actually.
Yeah?
I enjoy them recently more and more because of how more fleshed out they're getting. Things like the Halo Master Chief Collection, the Uncharted Collection as well.
Yeah.
I feel like they're really finding the games that there's a large amount of nostalgia attached to, and sometimes that people have missed. Like in my case, I missed a couple of the Uncharted, so I thought it was a perfect way to get back into it. Why do they exist? Because of a number of reasons. I think the obvious one is they're a way to re-energize a franchise or
like you've got a
titles.
new game coming out. So you've got Tomb Raider coming out, the Definitive Edition is coming out before that. You've got a new Halo, the Master Chief Collection. You've got a new Uncharted.
Yeah, and I think that's a sensible thing to be doing. Also, there's just the nostalgia. These are much loved games that people will always continue to love, and if they can have a new way of playing them on new consoles, I think, yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I feel like that list that I read out, pretty much all of those games that I have played, sometimes in the remaster or sometimes in the original, but I think they're all pretty much great games. I take a game like The Last of Us, for example, and that was a game that somehow I missed that on PS3. I did not play that, and I knew that it was out. I had a PS3 and everything, but I was doing something else. So I would never have played that if it hadn't come out on the PS4. I would not go dig up my PS3 and plug it in, so I bought the remastered edition.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfectly valid example because there are people who miss out on these games. I think people often assume that every game is made specifically for them.
Yeah.
But you have to keep in mind that there are people who miss out on them or who might not have had that game at that time or that right console, so to be able to go back and play something like The Last of Us, or even as far back as like the Rare Replay, so to go back and play something like Banjo-Kazooie, which I loved growing up, but I don't have the option, I don't know where my N64 is anymore, let alone a TV I could plug it into. And there are younger kids now who can play that and who can fall in love with that series and other games like that. And I think that's great.
Absolutely. And yeah, like you said, I think sometimes it can be disappointing as sort of like a hardcore gamer to look at a list of releases and see a bunch of stuff that you've already played on there. But maybe part of the frustration that comes from this sort of question is that it feels like it can be a cash grab. It feels like companies are putting them out just to make money. And sure, that's true, they are putting them out to make money. But it's also not necessarily taking away development time from games that already exist. Like when the Nathan Drake collection came out, Bluepoint Games did the port.
Yeah, so it's not like Naughty Dog are no longer making the next Uncharted because they're busy with their back catalogue.
Yeah.
They're still able to go on and make new games for people who have played everything that's already out.
Absolutely, and I think that you can look at it as a positive or a negative. You are bolstering your platform by taking a bunch of games that existed on other platforms, even if it is just 1 or 2 years ago, and putting it on PS4 or Xbox One. And that can be seen as like, look how many games we have, but people go, oh, but I've played a bunch of those. But I think it is important to have as many games as you can on your platform because so many people are coming into gaming for the first time with new consoles.
Yeah,
so
it's more games. Like, we've got to be positive about that.
I do think that the problem comes in when the port or the remaster isn't particularly great, where it might not work. The best ones I feel like are the ones where they are always the definitive edition version. So you got that Borderlands collection, which gives you 2 games and all the DLC, and it's up-res to 1080. Like, it looks great, it's got all the content, so, and for the price...
Well, that's the thing, a price point often next to a new AAA game is it's generally close to sometimes half the price for so much more content.
But then even if it's not, even if they are charging full retail, which I understand that people get frustrated about, that sometimes these games are expensive, I think you also have to look at it as going, well, if you've already bought that game on another platform, you don't really have a right to own it on all the platforms for a discount. Like, work went into that. If you want to play it on the, like you said, on your N64 or something, you just have to go dig that out and plug that into some screen.
Because of course, if I plug in my old N64, it's not going to look as good as this up-resed, beautiful menu version of the Rare Replay, and I think there should be a cost for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it looks like it's just going to become more and more common, so we are going to have to get used to this. Last year, the Xbox marketing boss, Aaron Greenberg, said that both the Rare Replay and the Gears of War Ultimate Edition had exceeded sales expectations. So they are going to keep coming, and I think, like with all of these issues, just vote with your wallet. If you don't want that game or they do a bad version, do not buy it. All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think about remastered games. Are you buying them? Do you find they're a good way to go and play games from the past, or do you feel like you're constantly getting ripped off? Let us know in the comments, and while you're there, suggest a talk through for Monday. And while you're there, go check out Good Game on Facebook, YouTube, and iView. Want to meet fellow Pocketeers? Then join the Pocketeers Facebook group and Steam group. You can follow Good Game on Twitter at GoodGameTV, follow Pocket at NickBoy, at Pierreth, at GGEditMonkey. He's at Goose Mangus, and there are links to everything I just said in the description below. Today's Thing of the Day graphic was made by Jack Cringy. If you've made a thing, send it in. Until Monday, NickBoy out.
Goose out. Big week, man.
Big week?
Go home and get some rest.
So sick. Hug me.
Hug me better. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's alright, I'm immune.